Thank you very much, everybody, and special thanks to Gemma and Lawrence that arranged this really nice event. And it's really nice to talk with you about a so important topic like energy. I think that both Nick and Melissa already provided us with really interesting tips to have a thought about the fact that the energy is a so important topic that has been always managed centralized. And we are in a situation in which we cannot decide what to do, and the system is always been the same. It's centralized, it's static, and it's safe, because energies must be safe. What we can do, or we are trying to do now in the past maybe 30 years, is to change the scenario in which we are living in. And we are trying to reduce the carbon emissions, because managing the energy has a bad result, has pollution. Because if we want to produce energy, we are going to pollute. We can reduce, we use new technologies in the gas. We can introduce offshore wind, especially here in UK, are quite popular. But the point is that nobody will never, ever tell you, and if he's telling you it's wrong, that it would be possible to cancel the pollution coming from the energy production. And this is because, despite the fact that the renewable energies are currently on the way to be more economic valuable than all once, there is a huge, big problem, the intermittency. We cannot control the wind. We cannot foresee which is going to happen tomorrow with the sun in a certain way. And for sure, we cannot hope that there will be wind during the night, or there will be the right situation with the sun during the day in order to match our own needs of energy. So everybody's working in a scenario that it's difficult to change. The point is that we have not to work in this scenario. We have to change the scenario. We have to change the paradigm. Everybody's talking now that the next frontier is represented by the storage. It's true. But again, we are working in the same scenario. What we are having in mind when we are talking about the storage? Everybody's talking about the new incredible battery produced by Tesla for having in our own home the possibility to accumulate the energy produced by our PV plant on the rooftop. That's great. We are talking about the new batteries that are going to feed our own new electric vehicles that, by the way, are always the same since 80 years. It's not a great revolution in technology. It's a little bit changing our own mind and the possibility to have no polluting vehicles driven by us. But the point is that we're always in the same scenario, because we are not looking, which is the real part of the energy. It's like we are thinking about the leaves of a tree, we are not considering the trunk. The trunk is the energy production. Energy production. This slide, I mean, I'm an engineer, I'm making management for more than 15 years in the renewable energy, so I'm not really good in engineering, but I know that the sum is not 100%, I'm telling you. The point is that these are two numbers, and they must not be summed. Are two different numbers, and they are dramatic numbers. Nobody have an idea, I think, because I haven't had an idea before really studying these numbers. The numbers are the 2.3% is the total energy that is currently stored. So the energy produced for the 97.7% is daily used. Only 2.3% is stored. So whatever you're reading about dozens of articles each day going on the electric vehicles, the use of the residential application, is nothing. It's nothing, not because it's 2.3%. It's even worse, because it's the 1% of the 2.3%. Because the 99% of the energy produced and stored is in dams, is in hydro-pumped systems. So it means that whatever you are thinking about the energy change batteries is wrong. Because what we are going to find is a solution to store the energy in terms of real production, because otherwise the renewable energies will be never, ever able to be deployed to substitute the fuel, the fossil fuels. That's the reality. What is Teraloop? Teraloop is one attempt, hopefully will be successful, because we have the first feedback, positive technology feedback, about the fact that we can provide a solution in order to increase dramatically the 2.3% and to permit not only to the situation in which there is the necessity or there is the possibility to create a dam to accumulate energy. This is another way to read that slide. It's a more, let's say, consultant's way. If you see, the pump hydro is the only real technology that is permitting to store electricity for hours and for big quantities. All the rest, all the magnificent new technologies that everybody's investing in are all aimed to fight in the same segment. That is a really small segment. It is for the small quantities and for, in any case, not a long period. So there is a huge gap. There is a blue ocean. The blue ocean is the one that Teraloop is going to target. And again, it's not because we want to take the whole segment. We are really happy that there are a lot of competitors, a lot of startups that are developing additional technologies different from our own one that I'm going now to describe you. And happy to come, because altogether we can change the paradigm. There will be never ever one technology that will change our own life. We need to have several technologies. But what we are doing now is to permit to match this really incredible need that maybe anybody, or at least the majority of people, is not aware of. And what we are doing is quite simple. We are going to use technology already existing, represented by a flywheel, that is one of the technologies that are better responding in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, but we are trying to make in a different way, using some other technologies to solve the main problem. The main problem of the flywheels is that they are small ones and they are based on kinetic energy. So they are put in rotation through the electricity that needs to be accumulated, and the rotation, so the motion, is represented the way to store the electricity. But the point is that you cannot scale in terms of dimension, because you will have a huge mass that is going to lose the efficiency of the storage, or you cannot speed, let's say, above certain limits, because otherwise the material is going to crash. So you have physically, let's say, capped. You cannot develop. But the guys of Teraloop, they are based in Helsinki, really great engineers, had a really clever idea. Okay, if we cannot grow the mass in order to match the requirements of a huge storage, let's remove the mass that is useless. So instead of running a cylinder, let's run a ring. So the idea of Teraloop is to run a ring that could be between 20 and 100 meters of diameter of the ring. And of course, the size of the ring can be between 50 centimeters up to 2 meters. And let's put this in rotation. How? Really simple. Again, using off-the-shelf technologies. So the ring is bearing on permanent magnets, so no energy is used to keep the magnets floating, and then is, let's say, put in movement through the use of normal electric brushless motors. So the energy is coming, is spinning the ring. The ring will remain spinning in a vacuum or not in a vacuum, according with the different solutions, for the period necessary to accumulate the energy. When the energy is needed, it's simple. It's taken back like a normal system of discharge of a brushless motors. Really simple. So simple, so good, I'm telling you. I invested in, and I was quite, let's say, not so convinced in the first period, but at the end they showed me that it's working. And where we are now, after 1.5 years, what we did was passing from the theoretical analysis to a certified set of scientific documents. We realized the first small-scale prototype that you see on the left. By the way, we used the components of a washing machine, so not something really technological, but quite effective, because in the moment in which you are running a startup, you need to be also really cost-effective. After this, we, let's say, improved the model, and now we are in a situation in which we have completed half of our own round A, and the good thing is that in the first round, it was, let's say, a crazy guy like me, plus other business angel investing in. But now we have on board as shareholder one of the biggest mechatronics company in the world, that is Yaskawa. It's a Japanese company. So convince a Japanese to invest in a European company in which there are Italian investors, it's the most difficult thing that you can imagine, I'm telling you. Anyway, this is a good news. And the good news is that hopefully we are arriving on the market in the next 2 years, because currently we are developing a laboratory prototype of a 10 kilowatt, but of course it's not our own target. Our own target is for energy storage is above 10 megawatt, so completely different market. We are arriving in a couple of years, and the target is to provide on the market with a discount price of 50%. That means that our own cost will be comparable to the cost of the storage of electricity in a hydro pump system, but without having all the limitation of building a dam. So you can, let's say, deploy easily compared to a dam. But coming back to the initial point, the key for the renewable energy is not only reducing the cost of the production, it's to find a clever way to change the paradigm of the energy system that we have at the moment. And the main point is that the most difficult part of the path that we are going to face is not to arrive to an efficient and effective product, because we know that we will arrive there. But the point will be arriving on the market. And to arrive on the market and convince big investors or to convince a grid company to buy a new technology, this will be the hardest part. So it's not only the technology, to find the right technology, but it's to work in order to change the mind of the people that are currently, let me say, leading the energy system. This will be our, as Teraloop, but our, as people, most difficult challenge over the next years. Thank you.